Well, everybody, I'm back 2 days in a row, so we'll try to do my best to get this video out in a timely manner rather than waiting 2 months like I did on the last one. Like I said in the last video, it was a late update, so I'm gonna go back through and re-update. The first thing is we got another conveyor in. This one was in a lot better shape than my other one is currently, till we went to bring it home and this cable right here decided to go ahead and just snap while we were lowering it down to get it on the trailer. The entire thing just swoop, hit the ground, folded that axle. The arms were all bent up, kind of put a little, it's just a little kink in it if I can find it. I already got it straightened back out, so it's not too bad. Yeah, up there. You kind of kinked that a little bit, but I was able to hammer her back out. Chain seems to be in pretty good shape. This one's got a lot more of the slat bars here already on it. The thing I like the most about this one compared to my other one is this is 20.5 or 21 inches wide. The other one's only about 18. So the other one, if I got any wood that's just a fuzz long or kind of right there at that point, it wants to jam up. The other thing is, with the other one only being about 18 wide, I think the slats in total on that one are 17 wide. So the point between these two chains right here, every now and then a piece of wood will literally get stuck between the chains. And that causes problems when it goes over the top. That one, hopefully it won't even have that issue just because it's that, 4 inches wider than the other one. Just went ahead and got the little cheap Harbor Freight Predator engine, and they seem to run great. They're little knockoff Hondas. Pretty much everybody knows that. But been selling a few bags here and there, so got the Wolfe Ridge bagger set up. Started working into that pile a little bit here recently. I know there was more piles down there before. I've sorted all that. All that's processor logs, which processor is still down. I'm having issues trying to find an engine for it and or time to just even take mine apart. Went through this pile of logs. Most of these are all processor grade as well. I'm just trying to leave. There's a few in here I'll have to pick out. Them couple dead standing ones, I've got a guy that takes furnace wood, so I'll cut them up and split them for him, sell them this year. Same thing I'll do with that like 4 or 5 year old red oak log that I went and picked up. It was a cleanup job. The pile of maple down there, I've just been slowly working into the piles. I'll never put a whole lot of that in at one time. We finally moved the conveyor off of this pile. I think in the last video I was somewhere right in this area. I had a few dead standing logs that I went ahead and worked up and added to the tail end of this pile. Like I said before, most all that stuff will probably be ready to go come the end of January and February, especially if it gets real cold. There'll be people that'll buy it. It'll be down. It might not be quite at 20%, but it'll be below 25. So I'm just be straight up and honest with some people, and if they want it, great. If not, it'll sit. We've been steadily taking off this side. This stuff turned out great. Pretty excited for this year. Never did measure how long these things were to get a rough guesstimate on how much supply I had this year. I know one of the first things I'm doing is putting more gravel down underneath this pile where it was. The ground pretty well ate up the stuff that I put down that it's on right now. Other than that, we are well into our supply for 2025. Stuff is primo. Most all this is from that logger that I was talking about in the last video. White oak, red oak, I had a tree service bring some ash in. That's sitting over here. There's ash and more white and red oak in this to get worked up. So what I'm getting ready to do now is hop on the skid steer and split with the 30-30. I'm gonna add all this stuff to that pile. I've got a high school kid that's been working for me. He's been great. He's been one of the best guys I've ever had run the splitter, really. I'm gonna get this stuff all worked up over here and get a pretty good pile for him to do on Saturday, hopefully. This nice pile of cherry here. This is a 5-foot wall, so this whole pile is roughly 15 foot wide and I don't know, 6 foot tall on average probably, and another 10 foot wide. Pretty good pile of cherry, a little bit of hickory. I did get another bit of hickory in from that same logger. I got him bringing me stuff. It's as you can see, it's not really processor grade. It's all pretty big. Some of it's curvy from the tops and whatnot, but with the processor being down right now anyway, this stuff works. In all honesty, with the processor being down, I'd much rather have this big straight stuff to work with. I get more wood out of it anyway, and I get to use that thing. We'll get all that stuff worked up and hopefully go into Colorado before too long. There has been another load since the last video that got to Colorado already. Other than that, not a whole lot's changed. I've done a couple more little landscape jobs. I don't know if I even panned over to it when I walked by a minute ago. The pile of boiler wood is pretty substantial now. But I've that same customer that I said I did a driveway job for over summer before, he's getting 2 dump truck loads of this, so that dump truck holds roughly 2.5 cord, so he'll get about 5 cord of that stuff. My dad will take the rest. I've got another pile of it at another location to get worked up and get here yet. But yeah, you're just gonna keep plugging along here. Hopefully in the next video you guys see this sucker will be running. I gotta get a hitch welded on it, and that same high school kid's actually going to school for welding, so he's in a shop class in high school and in the college right now. I'm gonna have him make a couple shoot sides for this thing before I go to use it. Since this thing's in such pristine condition, there's no curvature in it at all right now, I'm gonna weld that bar. Gonna cut it in sections and weld it underneath down here for some bracing. That way throwing the firewood up on it doesn't dent it, because that's going to start causing the issues. Try to do a little bit of prep work before I ruin my new one. And we'll see. If that sucker does good, then maybe I won't be in the market for a new one. We'll see. A new one sure would be nice. Sure would be nice. Let's hop on that rig. you guys have skid steer splitters, but I know we all got different ways of doing things. I'll kind of explain the way I do mine. Try to keep all my cutting over here on one side, splitting in another. Sawdust is dirty, just makes mud and holds moisture, yada yada, so I don't want it out here. Once this pile's all split up and up the conveyor, I'll come in and all that little stuff that's sitting on the ground, I just scoop it up, clean it up with the bucket, go toss it on that burn pile that I always got going on. While I'm splitting over here, I try to keep out the pieces relatively to size to where they can go through the four-way on the 28 Pro one time and be done. Granted, that doesn't happen all the time and it's not a big deal if not, but that's what I try to shoot for. Don't get too picky. Just get all this stuff up in a pile. The guy I got working for me can sort it out. Kind of looks like this log right here. I don't know if it gets any better down there at the end or not. That one I just did off of it was pretty punky. If that's how that whole log's gonna be, then I'll end up just setting that thing aside and using it for boiler wood or bonfire wood and just go over there in that other pile. I'll split one a few pieces down from where that was and see if the log got any better. If you have a skid steer or access to a skid steer, I'd highly suggest getting yourself one of these. I actually got tree service on the way to drop off. I think he said it was a big pin oak. All I'll have to do is hop in this thing and split it down. I get a lot of that pin oak in this area that's in that 3-foot diameter range that just can't handle them without a machine. I know all our splitters got nice log lifts on them and whatnot, but man, just having to roll them around and whatnot, wear a guy out, break a back. This just makes it so much easier, so much faster in my opinion. That pile that was here before I started splitting this, I think I only have about an hour and busting it down to size. If I get a piece that falls down right in front of me like that, may as well grab it and send it right back up. There's nothing that says that my guy running the splitter can't just pick up a piece that's already done, throw it on the conveyor. There's a lot of them in there that'll be like that. If I got some that are just really don't need to be split, but a little bit, I'll try to make it to where I get two good pieces out of them like that, and then the bottom one falls in half and you can whack that one time and be done. Anything you can do to save time, kind of the name of the game. Looks like it might have got a little bit better down there. We'll try it there. Yeah, that's a lot better. It's not solid white. other day, out of curiosity, since I got that new one, took a measurement on my conveyor links. That one the new one down there is about right at 30 foot. The one that I got here is 34. So they'll be pretty dang close to being the same. I never really even run this one all the way up. The pile right now is a little over 10 foot, I think, right there, and it'll go up from there. I think my piles on the other side are pushing about 15 foot tall is typically what it runs at. I think that works for a pretty good height. I get a lot of wood in the piles that way, and still enough airflow through there that everything dries out, doesn't trap anything. Definitely don't want them to sit there and just mold. I haven't had an issue with mold in my piles. Part of that's probably just because of how I have the lot set up, that everything gets sufficient sun and air. And then the water up here all drains off pretty well. I do need to do something different over there on them two piles for the next time I stack them up, because if I'll regrade the road up above it, or I'll do something trying to direct the water a little bit different. The water's wanting to run underneath of them, so that the bottom little bit that's on the ground over there is staying pretty wet. Doesn't really affect the whole pile though. As I'm doing my deliveries, most of them are all stack jobs anyway, and if they're a dump load, then it's a bulk deal and very minimal in there. I'll pick out all them other ones. The stack job, man, big yawn. Some of these pieces like this, well, the guy running the splitter end up separating them out. Won't send the crappy pieces up the conveyor. I'll have a bucket sitting here next to the splitter. He'll fill up. Go put it all on the boiler pile. Here comes my tree service guy coming up the road with the pin oak.